getting into this topic, the three universal challenges that everyone has. Now, I work with a lot of people from a lot of different walks of life, and I have conversations with people, exchanges and engagements with people, especially online, every single day. And the mix of individuals I come across is very diverse, very eclectic, from athletes to entrepreneurs to government workers to employed professionals to people running startups to male and female to 30 under the age of 30 and the people over the age of 50. The challenges that I see in people run the gamut from very personal life things to strictly business related things to money making things, and again a whole bunch of things in between those. Even with such a diverse group of people and a diverse group of challenges, there are three common challenges that I have noticed over the years, and this is going back 20 years and working with people online from athletes to entrepreneurs. Three common challenges that I've noticed in all people, anytime they're dealing with any different types of challenges, there are three specific aspects that are leading to those challenges. I'm going to tell you exactly what they are here in today's masterclass. You ready for these three? And as I go through these three, you need to check yourself on them and ask yourself, are any of these afflictions affecting you right now in your life? Point number one. Topic once again here today are the three universal challenges everyone has. Number one is a challenge of indecision. Indecision. This means people taking too damn long to make a decision and then act on that decision. Many people never make a decision, and those who do finally make a decision take way too long to make the decision. Meaning, by the time you make a decision, your opportunity has passed, is not as hot or as good as it was, or by the time you finally make a decision, you don't even have the resources to take advantage of the opportunity that you would have had you made the decision when you first had the opportunity to do so. In the book Think and Grow Rich, which if you haven't read, you should read, Napoleon Hill listed the 31 major causes of failure. Near the top of that list, when he laid out those principles of, actually, before I even get into that, he also laid out the principles of success. Now, the principles of success, there are only 17. But the major causes of failure, there are 31. So in other words, there's almost twice as many ways to fail as there are to succeed. This actually should be a good thing for you because the ways to succeed, there ain't that many of them. A whole lot of ways to fail, though. So you better be careful. So something for you to think about just on that note alone. But one of the items at the top of this list of the 31 major causes of failure is indecision. People are just too damn slow, taking too long to make a decision, or not making a decision at all, or making a decision on which you are not firm. Thus, you are not firm in the actions that follow that decision. See, a decision is not real until an action is taken upon it. A decision is not just something that you say or write down or you think in your mind. A decision is something that you act on to solidify that it's a real decision. Because the decision is cutting off any possibility of anything other than what you've decided on. That means you take an action that shows you're committed to the thing that you decided on. Many people are so unfirm in the decisions that they make that they don't take any action behind the decision. Therefore, they're not really making a decision, thus indecision. All right, that's why I have this point of indecision. Many people just take very long to make decisions. People have a really bad habit of adding time to situations. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit more as we get deeper into this episode. You're going to notice that different forms of that are going to come up all throughout these three challenges. Many people just like to add time to situations, give themselves time to rest and relax and be comfortable before they do anything that they think might move them out of their comfort zone, actually making a decision being one of them. And the problem with this is people procrastinate all through life until there is no life left with which to procrastinate. This is the problem, because by the time people finally get around to, okay, let me get serious and start doing things now instead of doing things later, you realize that you don't have that much time left. Actually, usually people get to this point when they realize they don't have that much time left. It's not that they finally realize it and then say, oh, damn, I had that much time. It goes the other way. It's, oh, damn, I don't have enough time. I don't have that much time. Let me start having a sense of urgency about things. See, that's the problem. You're doing it too late. By the time you get around to doing that, a lot of your opportunities are gone, dried up, and taken by other people who had they were more definitive in their decision making. So one of the items at the top of this list, 31 major causes of failure, is indecision. I suggest you go look up, if you haven't read Think and Grow Rich, get the book. At least go look up the 31 major causes of failure and check yourself. One of the major reasons people come up short, regardless of who they are, where they are, or what they're trying to achieve, is indecision. In my experience, people have this as a chronic disease. Indecision is a chronic disease that afflicts All people from all different walks of life. I don't care if I'm talking athlete, entrepreneur, an employed professional, a student, a man, a woman, an elderly person, a Gen Zer, Gen Yer, doesn't matter. They all got the same problem, indecision. The good news for someone like yourself is that you can aid others in their decision making so that they can get out of their own way and get out of the holding pattern of indecision that keeps people doing a whole lot of nothing. So if you're in sales, for example, you understand that your ability to move a person to action, even when they're hesitating to take the action, is all about getting them out of the state of indecision. Right? Isn't that what it is? Someone wants to buy from you, but they're hesitating to buy. Your job as a salesperson is to get them to buy. All right, because if you don't, then they get nothing. They don't get what they want. You get nothing. You don't get what you want. You don't make the sale. Nobody wins. So it is your moral obligation as a salesperson to sell someone who wants to buy. All right, I'm just using sales as an example here, but this applies everywhere. If you are not good at this, you're not going to make many sales, and you won't be able to help your customers and clients, again, as you're morally obligated to do. If you see it, something is more of a moral obligation rather than something that you could do or could not do, you're much more likely to take action on it. So just consider that mental shift, that paradigm shift. Point number 2. Today's topic, once again, is 3 challenges that every single person faces. And again, these are universal challenges that I notice in people from all different spaces. Number 2, slow to action. So I jumped on this one a lot in the first point. Slow to action. So let's say you've already made a decision. You already know what is going to happen or what needs to happen. The next problem is that you take too damn long to actually start doing it. People are just slow to do stuff. All right. So again, it is tied to this challenge of indecision. Is what comes right after is action. As soon as you make a decision, now you got to take action. I just told you. A decision is not a real decision until you do something. If you decided on something but didn't do anything, you didn't really do anything. You didn't make a decision. So the old fable anecdote says that there are 2 frogs sitting on a log, and one of the frogs decides to jump off the log. How many frogs are left sitting on the log? Some people would say, well, 1. There were 2 frogs, and 1 frog decided to jump off the log. The real answer is 2. There are still 2 frogs sitting there, because just because a frog decided to jump off the log does not mean that the frog actually jumped off the log. And this is where many of you are living right now, in this constant holding pattern of I decided I'm going to do ABC, yet you have taken 0 action on ABC. Therefore, ABC has not begun. So the decision is only in your head, but nobody else can tell that you made the decision because you ain't doing shit. This is what happens. See, once you know that you're going to do something, you need to actually go do it. Actually execute. Now, there's no one listening to me who doesn't understand what I just said. That last sentence, once you decide you're going to go do something, you have to actually go do it. There's no one listening to me who just heard that and said, damn, you know what? I never thought of that before. I never considered that before. That's an epiphany to me. Maybe it's a good reminder for some of you, but it's not brand new. It's not the first time you ever heard the concept, right? Not for any of you. Everybody understands it. But the problem is you're human. And here's one of the problems with being human, is that human beings are generally lazy. All of us. Human beings are generally lazy. And we are slow to take actions, especially when they are actions that we, quote unquote, already know we need to be taking. People are slowest with doing things they already know they're supposed to do. How many of you have something in your life that you know you're supposed to do, and not because you haven't had the time, simply because you have not decided to do it, you just haven't done it. You just didn't do it. Not because your schedule was just packed all day, every day, you just didn't get around to that thing. It just got lost in the shuffle because you had all these other things going on. Some of you may live that type of life. And I have coached some people who do live that type of life, at least from what they've told me. Most people do not live that type of life. Most of you have enough breathing room in your schedule that anything that you know you're supposed to do, you could do, you are just not fucking doing. And this is one of the common problems that I notice in human beings. So if you are guilty of this, on one hand, you should feel bad because you know I'm talking about you. On the other hand, don't feel that bad because you got a ton of company. All right, a whole bunch of other humans got the same problem you got. And here's the good news about all of that is that you can separate yourself from everyone else by alleviating yourself of all 3 of these problems that I'm pointing out here today. So the first one was stop being indecisive and be more decisive. Second one is once you make a decision, fucking do something. That'll separate you from most people. And I didn't even get to the third point yet. I'm not even finished the second point. Human beings are generally lazy. This means we take long to do stuff, especially when we say we already know we're supposed to do it. Even if you're able to get motivated to take action in the moment, the bigger challenge is keeping yourself activated to continue taking action on a consistent basis. See, it's easy to go to the gym the first couple of days when you decide you're going to go to the gym. The hard part is going to the gym every day because you said you're going to go to the gym every day. See, it's that day that you don't feel like it. That's the day that really is a challenge. See, it's not hard to go to the gym. You get excited one day and say, I'm going to go to the gym. There's a guy I saw, as a matter of fact, just today. I was in the gym working out, and there's a guy, I haven't seen this guy in 2 months. He hasn't been in the gym. Now, he and I know each other because he is a boxing gym that I go to, and we sometimes will spar, which is practice boxing against each other. And he's a little bit taller than me and a lot heavier than me, so it's actually a good challenge for me to spar with this guy, a bigger guy. But he hasn't been. I haven't seen this guy in 2 months, and he just randomly showed up to the gym today. And he's the guy who had said to me, "Dre, send me a text and let me know you're going to be at the gym. I'll come to the gym. We can work out, et cetera, or spar. I don't work out with other people, but we could have sparred together if he would have came to the gym. But he hasn't shown up in 2 months, and he didn't even text me and tell me he was coming today. He just randomly showed up, and I told him, "Hey, if you're going to come again, ever again, just send me a text and let me know you're coming." He said, "Okay." We'll see. All right. TBD, to be determined if this guy ever shows up to the gym ever again. Because again, I didn't see him for months. Then he showed up once. Then I didn't see him for months again. He showed up once today. And let's see when next time I see him. Who knows? All right. So anyway, it might be 2025 before I see this guy again. The point is, most people have this exact same problem. All right, I'm using this guy as an example, but most people, I'm describing you. You show up once when you feel like it, when it feels good. Then nobody hears from you for months. Then you show up again. Then we don't hear from you for months. Then you show up again. And it's random. It's like, stop, you just driving a car. You're supposed to drive 10 miles across town. You drive a mile, you stop, you park the car, get out. Drive another mile, stop, park the car, get out. Drive another mile, stop, park the car, get out. You keep doing that. It takes way longer than if you would have just drove the whole 10 miles without stopping. This is the pattern that many of you are living right now in your lives. I'm describing you. See, anybody can get engaged randomly, but can you be engaged consistently? Can you do it all the time? Continue taking actions on a consistent basis. Anyone can move themselves to action when properly engaged on a temporary basis. So if I give you enough reasons to get motivated right now, you can find enough reasons to go do the thing that you're supposed to be doing, whatever it is. What I find is many people cannot keep themselves at that level of activity on a day-to-day basis, always. And this is more of a discipline than it is about a motivation, because you're not always going to be motivated, at least not the type of motivation that most of you think of when you hear the term motivation. You need discipline, which is going to move you to action even when there's no motivation whatsoever. You be demotivated and you'll still go do the thing. I tell you all, I work out every single day. There's no amount of demotivation that I could possibly have that would cause me to not go to the gym. I can't even think of anything. Now, if I'm physically incapable, that's one thing, but there's nothing that could be happening in my mind that will cause me to not work out. I don't think there's anything. I'm not even going to. Somebody close to me could be dead, have died the day before. I'm still going to work out that day. I'm still going to work out because me not working out is not going to bring them back to life. Again, that's a discipline. So what is it for you? What is going to move you to that action? So it's not just moving yourself to action now. It's also lack of sustained action that gets in people's way. This is fixed by having a structure and a process in place that, as long as you follow the structure and the process, it leads to a consistent behavior, even if you're not consciously thinking about it. Because you got to constantly think about something for a while before it becomes a habit. So if you have a process and a structure, all you got to do is follow the process and the structure. As long as you just keep following that, you don't have to think too hard. Just follow what it says. Eventually, you'll do it so often that the subconscious mind will take over and say, okay, I'll make this a habit. And now you don't even have to look at the process and structure. And now you just do it without thinking. All right, that's how it's developed. Point number 3. Today's topic, once again, is the 3 universal challenges that I notice in all people, regardless of background. Number 3, a lack of urgency and a lack of movement to important execution. A lack of urgency. This is a topic that has been brought up a lot on the Work on Your Game masterclass when we talk about urgency. Both challenges number 1 and number 2 are related to challenge number 3. A lack of urgency is the reason why you don't make decisions quickly. A lack of urgency is the reason why you don't take action immediately, because you feel no urgency about taking action. You just get around to it whenever you get around to it. And it doesn't matter. You get around to it whenever you feel like it. People just don't have strong enough reasons to move themselves to consistent actions and immediate decisions. If you had good enough reasons, you would take immediate action and you would make immediate decisions. Anybody can do it. None of you is incapable. You just don't have a strong enough reason to do it. Therefore, you don't. Most people have plenty of things they could do. They simply don't do simply because you don't have a good enough reason to do it. That's it. This is why people put off decision making and delay action as if our time is unlimited. Let me remind you of something that I remind people of all the time. Your time is not unlimited. It is highly limited. We all understand on a logical level that our time is not unlimited, as I just said, but it's very hard to move ourselves to action behind a logical understanding because it's easier to relax and allow time to pass because it pleases us emotionally to take our time and do things when we feel like doing them rather than do things even when we don't feel like doing them. Most people don't do stuff they don't feel like doing unless there is some intrinsic motivating factor that moves them to do the thing anyway. For example, most of you go to work every day, even though you don't always feel like going to work. The reason that you go to work is because you understand that going to work allows you to keep collecting a paycheck and keep making your money and allows you to pay your bills and keep the lights on and take care of your family and your kids. Therefore, even when you don't feel like it, you go to work. But see, something to which you don't have that connection, like, for example, going to the gym or recording an episode of your podcast or finishing writing your book or putting together that sales funnel that you want to launch for your side hustle business. See, there's no strong connection to why you need to do that. Therefore, you keep procrastinating on not doing it and having no urgency. And that's why that activity or that intention is collecting dust in the recesses of your mind simply because you don't have a strong enough reason to follow through with discipline. Not that you don't have the capability of being disciplined, because again, you go to work every day. Do you feel like going to work every day? All right, raise your hand if you love going to work every day. All right, nobody's raising their hand because nobody feels like going to work every day. All right, and I played a professional sport. We don't even feel like going to work every day. Okay, I run a business that I put this together. I write these books. I record this show. I decide what I'm going to talk about on my live streams and get on stages and do speeches. And I still some days do not feel like going to work. But we all go to work every day. So what's stopping you from doing everything else every day? You just don't have a good enough reason. This is why you have no urgency. See, people who move with a sense of urgency and speed, and they're quick to make decisions and take action, usually there's an emotional reason or an emotional trigger that moves them to behave in that way. This either happens involuntarily, like something just happens in their lives, so maybe some type of tragedy or some surprise outcome happened in their life that just changed them forever. This is the emotionalization part that programs the subconscious mind, or it's a conscious decision that someone is able to condition themselves into. This is the repetition part and the immersion part of the programming of the subconscious mind. If you didn't hear my episode where I talked about how the subconscious mind gets programmed, go listen to episode number 2918, 3 Ways to Condition Your Subconscious Mind. I just told you what they were really quickly right there. Emotionalization, immersion, and repetition. People who act with a sense of urgency have programmed their subconscious to keep them urgent. It is not a conscious thing. It's not like they're remembering every 5 minutes, oh, be urgent, be urgent, be urgent. Maybe at first you have to do that. And again, that's the immersion/repetition part of it, to get yourself into that frame of mind so that you can eventually go on autopilot and you have to think about it anymore. But they've done it to their subconscious, not their conscious. So any of you who thinks you're going to start doing this, understand you need to make a process and a system out of it, or plug into a process or a system of it. We have it in Work on Your Game University, which I'll tell you about in one moment. And that's how you get your subconscious mind working on your behalf. The subconscious controls 85% of your thought patterns. So I would suggest you get this to be subconscious, not conscious. Conscious is not going to make a difference. That said, let's recap today's class, which is the 3 universal challenges that everybody has. Again, male, female, young, old, people in their 20s, people in their 50s, entrepreneurs, corporate professionals, government people, independent contractors, freelancers, OnlyFans girls, podcasters, basketball players, doesn't matter, students, athletes, parents, doesn't matter. Universal challenges. Number 1, indecision. Slow to make decisions. Napoleon Hill, 31 Major Causes of Failure. At the top of the list is indecision. People who simply cannot make decisions. Number 2, slow to action. You already know what you need to do, but you're just taking forever to actually do it. This is where time gets wasted, and time is life. You run out of time, you are dead. Number 3, lack of urgency and no import of execution. In other words, you don't have a strong enough reason to be urgent about the things you do. So you take your time and do things, quote unquote, at your own pace. Let me remind you, your own pace is too damn slow. All that said, you want to change these issues, you want to address these problems and get them fixed immediately with some accountability to go with it, go to workonyourgameuniversity.com. I'm your guy who will help you with this. Go to workonyourgameuniversity.com. Schedule a time to get on a conversation with us, and we'll talk about where you're at, where you want to go, what's in your way, and we'll discuss exactly how we're going to fix it and how it works. Go to workonyourgameuniversity.com. Work on your game. Dre, all